Singapore has confirmed 2 more cases of the novel coronavirus, taking the total number of cases here to 47. Meantime, 2 cases have been discharged from hospital, bringing to 9 the total number of cases that have recovered and been discharged.
For more, Tan Se-Hui is at Singapore's Ministry of Health, where a briefing by the Coronavirus Task Force has just ended. Good evening, Se-Hui. Could you tell us more about how contact tracing is being done on these new cases, and is there new information about them?
All right, so what we know is that, in contact tracing, when we know there's a suspected case, quarantine nurses, they'll check if they're well or they're not well, and if they're not well, they'll be taken to the NCID, so that's the National Center for Infectious Diseases. But if they're well, they will be at the quarantine facilities. And what we know so far, we understand that there was a Resorts guard who was confirmed as one of the confirmed cases. What we know is that there's a reasonable hypothesis that he was infected by the quarantined cases that came down with the virus. So the officials were telling us that there is a reasonable hypothesis that there is such a transmission from the cases that were quarantined in the facilities to the Resorts guard. But they couldn't comment on whether, because we understand that the Resorts guard may have been untruthful to doctors when they were trying to test whether he had come into contact with those quarantine cases. So officials told us that the onus is on the doctor to provide specific questions to these patients to understand whether they came into contact with any kind of known links to these confirmed cases. So it's really on the onus on the doctor.
So what are some of the possible measures that Singapore may implement to ensure better information sharing between countries?
So what we understand is that Singapore and Malaysia, they may be coming up with a joint committee. They will be sharing information. And we also understand that there could be a possible ASEAN and European Union committee or platform to share valuable information, daily information about the novel coronavirus. So those are the 2 platforms that we are looking and expecting to see that will be announced in the coming days.
All right, many thanks for that, Tan Se-Hui, speaking to us from outside the Singapore's Ministry of Health.